All right, maybe you're looking for an interface for an audio interface to work with your DAW. That's Digital Audio Workstation. I use Persona Studio One. Some people use Pro Tools. Those people are wrong. Anyway, you're looking for an interface, right? You want the best bang for your buck. Well, I'll tell you what I've done. When I first started recording guitar, I think it was 2011, and I purchased an Avid 11 rack. It was a big piece of hardware, and it was really cool because it interfaced directly with Avid's DAW Pro Tools. And with Pro Tools, you could record when using the 11 rack. A dry track, which means just your electric guitar dry, no amp emulations going through that piece of hardware, no reverb, no delay, nothing, just a dry signal and a wet signal at the same time on the two different audio tracks. It was very useful for me because you can use the wet track, the track that's affected by the signal, the amp, emulation going through the hardware, the reverb, the delay, everything going on. Even simulated the microphone type. You could then use that as the reference track, but have your dry track ready to go through the whole mixing process later. In the mixing process, in professional recordings, that's usually where they add reverb and delay. They'll record a lot of times a dry guitar sound going through an amplifier, but they won't add any sort of pedal effects, things like that. It'll just be a straight dry guitar sound, meaning no reverb, no delay. Those are called time-based effects. Later, those are added in the mixing process. Everything that the Avid 11 rack did with hardware can be done in software. So after I finished recording that album, I went ahead and sold my 11 rack, and I moved on to getting the AX-IO by IK Multimedia. That was a cool recording interface. One of my main concerns with the AX-IO was the round trip latency. Back when I purchased it, I thought, I don't know, how it's gonna treat that, because when you're playing guitar through an interface, and that interface is not emulating an amplifier or anything, that interface is just sending the signal, typically through some sort of USB cable, maybe Thunderbolt. Old school was Firewire, maybe. I don't think Firewire is used too much anymore. Anyway, so the signal goes into your computer and your DAW. Typically, you'll add virtual amplifiers and effects. And then that signal comes back out of your interface into headphones or into studio monitor speakers. And that's what you're using as a reference. That's what you're hearing when you play. So there's a delay. It can be a very slight delay, but when you're playing guitar and you're used to the way that guitar sounds going through a real amplifier, that delay can throw you off. You're trying to get your timing perfect. Things can get a little wonky. The AX-IO had a cool way of solving that problem. There was a mix knob, a signal knob, where you can adjust if you want to hear just the signal coming out of your computer, out of your DAW, or how much of the dry signal you want to add into that. The dry signal is virtually no delay. You're just hearing it straight. So when you mix the two, you can get a very good, essentially latency-free. You like it when I do air quotes, don't you? Has that turned you on? If you comment about it in the comments, go ahead. Put them down there. Your mom likes it. Doesn't matter. She's old school. Where was I? Oh. All right, so you hear that. You hear the mix of the signals, so you can still play well. The AX-IO did a great job at that. And you can get cool deals on IK Multimedia software. The famous set of T-Rax plugins. Amplitube, of course, it comes with Amplitube, which is a amplifier emulation software program. After I used the AX-IO for a while, I decided to go into the world of RME. Yeah, I went balls to the wall. Yeah, which you're probably thinking testicles right now, aren't you? And that's what you think balls to the wall means. Some of you think that. You gotta look it up. That's not where the saying comes from. Nope. Probably used in steam engines. Yeah, late 1800s, around that time frame. Later used in the Vietnam War. Look it up. I wasn't using it dirty. I know where it comes from. So I went balls to the wall and I got the RME UFX Plus. Killer interface. RME is known for having really low round trip latencies. And now, after that, I purchased the RME Babyface Pro FS. FS means femtosecond. F-E-M-T-O, femtosecond, which is a really small division of time. Anyway, it's the newer version of the Babyface Pro. RME interfaces I've been very happy with. Now I realize RME interfaces are very expensive. They're out of the range of many people. No problem. The Axe.io was a great interface and it did exactly what I wanted it to do at the time. If you're in the market for a new interface, you might want to take a look at the Axe.io. They have a unique way of solving the latency issue. I'll put a link below of different interfaces and their round trip latency times compared. Most of those top 20 spots are held by RME. You'll see. Take a look at the link. Now this is, of course, assuming you're going to get an interface and do all of the amp emulations inside of your DAW. If you're not going to do that, if you're going to use a hardware solution, like a, was it Fractal Design or Fractal Audio, they're super expensive interfaces that are used by, oh yeah, Def Leppard on tour. Yeah, they use the Fractal stuff.